Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. It's chamber check-in time. And I have got the guest today to speak with. We've got Vana Tori out of the Shore Lodge. Hi, Vana.
Hello, hello.
Hey, I'm excited to share the Shore Lodge story and catch up and check in with you to see what's going on in McCall, the Shore Lodge. But first, I get to thank our series sponsor for these events. Vana, it's Delta Dental of Idaho. Delta Dental has been providing individual and business dental insurance benefits for Idahoans for over 50 years. Their their benefits are designed and backed by the largest network of dentists in the country, best in class programs. And with that, I get to share a fun factoid from their Truth series. Here we go.
Hey, did you know that the Statue of Liberty's mouth is 3 feet wide? That's a serious set of chompers.
I love those little fun factoids. Thank you, Delta Dental. Hi, Vana. What's going on in McCall today?
Well, we're expecting snow. I guess that's what we're expecting in McCall. But yeah, the weather, of course, up here, in the mountains. You never know what you're quite going to get. We used to say that Boise was a bit bipolar. Sometimes it's like that here as well.
I love visiting McCall in the winter and in the summer. It's always a hot spot. Today's check-in is to learn a little bit about the origin story of the Shore Lodge and hear from you on how things are going and the impacts of the pandemic and talent attraction and all that stuff. But first, I want to share a little bit about your work history. We've known you for a long time, Vana, and you were a part of the chamber for many, many years with your previous occupation. So why don't you get us all up to speed and the listeners from when you started and how you landed in McCall at the Shore Lodge?
Sure, absolutely. So it's kind of an interesting, maybe not well-known fact, but my husband and I actually got married up here at the lodge in 2008. So if you had told me that I was going to come to work for the Shore Lodge way back then, I would have been like, yeah, I'm not sure what dream you're having, but that's not going to happen. And lucky enough for me, it's now been 5 years since I started. So it'll be 5 years officially in March. So the time is flying by. But fabulous opportunity. I actually was recruited, amazingly enough. If you don't know about my history, I worked at Adecco for many, many years there and received a call one day from one of my many clients that said, hey, I need you to help me find a recruiter. And that was the beginning of the conversation that actually ended up with an opportunity for me to be here up at the lodge. So, yeah, crazy stuff.
So Adecco, so you were in talent attraction and recruitment already.
That is correct. Yes, I had 15 years just with Adecco, and before that, 13 years that I worked with another staffing provider there in the Boise area. So a long-standing, I think, 30-year career in recruiting and talent acquisition. So it certainly was kind of a no-brainer for me to move up here to this beautiful property and have the opportunity to do what I do here. So, yeah.
Well, I know how the Shore Lodge operates, and it's an elevated level, and you only elevate that to another level with your expertise. So, as we talk about the Shore Lodge, I love to learn about the amenities of these resort communities, especially your outfit. So, tell the listeners, there's a lot of people that have moved to the Treasure Valley over the last 3 or 4 years, and they may not know about the lodge and its amenities. So why don't you take us a walk through what people can experience when they stay with you guys?
Sure, absolutely. The lodge itself is a Forbes recommended property. So if you're familiar with the Forbes terminology, if you will, there's quite a bit to be eligible for a Forbes recommendation that you have to do as a company, regardless of the industry that you're in. And so being a Forbes recommended property really kind of, what I would say, enhances the level of service that's here. I would say that, we're a 77 room boutique hotel. A lot of people will call and expect to get the same rooms that they had before. There are no rooms that are identical in the hotel, so that makes it a little bit difficult. But most of them are suites. In fact, of course, the most sought after room is the room that faces the water. So any of those king suites that you have the view of the water and the lake is spectacular. So, we're 2 hours from Boise, in a tiny town of McCall. It's 3,000 people who live here year round, definitely in growth mode. So we're experiencing a lot of people that are moving here and trying to escape the life. I think some of that might have to have done with the COVID experience. Others are I just want to be where it's peaceful and quiet and beautiful and serene. So, one of the things that I think I hear from the people that have come and stayed at the lodge is you're either one of two things. So you either come here for the lodge to experience the excitement, be on the water and do all the crazy things that we do. So whether that's wakeboarding or paddleboarding or cliff diving or whatever it is, you come to do that, or you're the exact opposite, which is that serene sort of Zen. I just want to be alone, read a book in the mountains, or experience a hike or whatever it is. And I think you get both of those here. The amenities are pretty spectacular, and I even remember in 2008 when I came and they didn't know I was getting married. But we booked 4 rooms at the time, and when we got here, there was an opportunity for a glass of wine at check-in, and there was little foodies, and then the experience of what I would call that above the norm experience for our guests and members actually happened to me, and so that's one of the reasons that it's so passionate for me is. If somebody found out that we were getting married at the lodge because we didn't tell anybody at the time. We literally were like, we're just going to do this on the spur of the moment. And the next thing I know, when we got back to our room, there was a champagne bottle and a cheese tray. And, we're so excited that you got married here. And gosh, we wish we'd have known. But, here's a little gift from us. And from that time on, it was kind of our peace place. So we came up here every year to experience it because it really is an experience. We have the Narrow Steakhouse, which is Idaho's most lauded steakhouse. It's about $120 per person from amuse-bouche to dessert. So that does not include wine and dessert. So that gives you an idea of the service level. It's really exceptional experiences. And our ownership, the reason for existing and the reason why we do what we do is to create memories for our members and guests. And that's our sole purpose for being here.
I love it. And you've just hit the top of the iceberg on the amenities as well, because I used to live in McCall. It's a resort destination. Local Boiseans have been going there to recreate for eons. You've got Brundage Mountain right there. Again, you've got Payette Lake, and you just have thousands and thousands of miles of mountain terrain to hike, bike, run, motorcycle. And like you said, it's serene and quiet. And I just love it. As a talent manager and attraction manager for Shore Lodge, and you've been there pre-pandemic, and it's tough, right? In a resort community to attract and train, and then, right? And tell me a little bit about how you're doing with talent attraction and staffing the lodge.
Sure. This summer was a painful summer. It really was. I think we went all summer long not having filled 70 positions. And to give you a little perspective of that, we hire 200 people every summer just for summer season. So they start in May and continue with us through October. So to have 70 people short in that environment was fairly painful. And they were in every job you could possibly imagine. So whether that meant they were golf and greens, or it was culinary, or if it was front of house food and beverage as servers, or if it was somebody that worked at the club, I think every single department really felt it. And of course, my job is to fill all those jobs. So it was an interesting season. Let me just say that. We focused on a lot of different products when it comes to finding employees. So our biggest and probably most successful recruiting machine is the referral resource. People that come up here fall in love with it. And it's a lifestyle, it's a mountain career destination is what I tell people.
Yeah.
And so if it's something that really is of interest to you, you love that idea of the seasons, and you love to be outdoors, and you love to ski, and you love to boat, and you like water skiing, and that very active environment. These are all things that I think really bode well. we tend to really drive activity with what we call recruiting partners, which happen to be exact opposite seasons of us. So we spend a lot of time in Arizona, because in Arizona, when things get really hot, we're finally getting to the point where, we're at the point where we're needing people to come to work. So when they're done in May, we want them in May. And they stay with us until October, and then they go back in October, which is very busy. So we spend a lot of time with, like I said, recruiting partners, the relationships that I've established both out of Arizona and out of Florida. In fact, I will be doing a lot of recruiting. I'll be heading to Florida the first week of January, first and second week, to talk to the people that are there and convince them that coming to the Shore Lodge is a great opportunity for their summer.
What type of staff lodging do you guys offer? How does that work?
Absolutely. If we did not have the ability to provide housing for our employees, we would not be successful. We have a lot of different housing products. So there is a dorm product. There are a couple different options. In fact, in the dorm product, there's something called the quads. There's condos. We've got what I would call married student housing, kind of. So it really does depend on the individual and what they're looking for. But we have a lot of flexibility with the housing product. Most of our employees that are coming here now are looking for a housing component as a part of their offer. It's very difficult, as some people may or may not know, to find housing in McCall. It's very expensive. It's becoming quite the resort town. And so those costs are driving the challenges for us as a company. And we're very lucky. Our ownership is very dedicated to providing those opportunities for our employees. So we're very lucky we have that option, or I'm sure we would not be successful. There are many other entities in McCall that are currently struggling to keep employees and find employees, just based on the fact that housing is such a limited component here. It's challenging.
Wow. I'm so amazed at all the things that you've got to do to attract and keep. So you're talking about ownership. Tell us the origin story of Shore Lodge. When?
It was in 1948, right? So pretty cool stuff. If you walk through the halls of the lodge, you'll see many of the photographs. The original photographs are still there, and I pray that those never come down. The history is pretty rich and amazing. And you could go back in time and look at the original photographs of the lodge and see what still today exists right there in the foyer when you enter the building. So the moose has been iconic for years. And still hangs right over the top of the original stone fireplace that was built in 1948. So the lodge at that time, this was the place to come. Definitely photographs of the bathing beauties that were out on the water and out on the sand. And so that's how it started. It's gone through many, many iterations throughout its lifestyle, and it's been added on to multiple times and redesigned and configured. I guess, the most interesting thing is that our current ownership, he did purchase it in 2008, but really kind of sat on it. It's my understanding from 2008 until 2012, because he wanted to sort of make a decision about what in the purchase, what that looked like for him. And as a young child, he was 4 years of age the first time he came to the lodge. Wow. So that history means a lot with the family connection. And so, like I said, 2008, he bought it and was like, what do I want it to be? And in 2012, he really opened the facility and made it a public entity. And then also worked very closely with creating Whitetail Club, which is a private component of the lodge. And it's been through amazing changes since then. Beautiful rooms. The rooms, in fact, are just about to have another facelift. It's my understanding. I have not seen the room yet, but I hear it is pretty spectacular. So it's had, like I said, a lot of different facelifts throughout its time. But, the interesting thing is that the reason for us still being here is the original reason why he purchased the facility. And that was to be able to provide people with amazing experiences, lifetime memories. So whether it's their kids or their aunts or their uncles, it's families coming up here and spending time. We have the ability to really provide them with an experience that they will not soon forget. So that's what it's all about.
I can close my eyes and think about walking into the lodge and having the guy greet you with that fun hat, and they have that elevated service, and you walk down through that campfire area that you're talking about, and then you've got those emerald green carpets that is just so cool. you see it all the time, right? So I miss it, and we need to get back up there. So let's talk about booking. How are people? Do they need to schedule it 6 months ago for their holiday stuff? Tell us how we can book. And
It's my understanding there are still some openings in and around the holiday season, but they tend to be Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And that's really a component of what we're experiencing here. So a lot of our guests are coming and they're doing extended stays. So it used to be you'd come on a Friday or on a Saturday and you were just here for the weekend. What we've discovered now, and again, whether that's COVID or not COVID, I'm not sure, but what we've discovered is people are coming on Thursday and they're staying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and leaving on Sunday, or they're coming on Friday, as we always did, and going Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or they're coming on Sunday and staying Sunday, Monday. And so it's at least a 2 or 3 day stay. And the only times really that tend to be available are Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Oh, wow.
At the lodge. But, if you're wanting to come here and be here 4th of July next year, I will tell you it's already booked. If you're looking at Labor Day next year, it's already booked. So if you're looking at really big holidays where people want to get away and experience that time, it's something you do have to plan in advance. I always tell people that if they're going to do it, they need to call and make sure that there is an availability at the spa first, because that's where you want to spend your time, is get into that spa and have that relaxation moment for sure. But yeah, there's certainly options. You just have to be a little more flexible with your days.
You told me that there's no shoulder season anymore, and there isn't.
No.
Yeah.
When I first started 5 years ago, there were 3 months on the front end and 2 months on the back end. So we usually had October, like really September and October after Labor Day. We had planning months. That doesn't happen at all anymore. The hotel is 100% booked on its weekends right now, all the way through October.
Wow.
And right now our November, our Thanksgiving, and our December are looking very, very full. And then we're also seeing spring break packing up. So March, the last week of March, pretty full time. I would say the first and second week of March, there's some flexibility. So you have some options there, especially if you want to come up and be in the mountains in the snow. Spectacular month to come, for sure.
Absolutely. Hey, so Vaughn, I put your website on the bottom of the screen, and for people who are looking at diving deeper into the amenity offerings of the lodge, and also your phone number, in case anybody's looking at coming up there and staying through the season and needs some work. I would say that if I had an opportunity to work with Vanna, you would. She's so much fun. And working with you is not like work. It's a joy. And thanks for carving out a bit of time with me today, Vanna.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate all the kudos.
Absolutely. And she doesn't want to share, but she's covered up her window because they think there's snow falling now. And for locals who live in McCall, they don't want the snow yet because they can't go skiing yet.
Not an option. It'll be at least another week.
Awesome. Vanna, enjoy your time in Florida or Arizona recruiting. The blood pressure goes down when we walk into your resort. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.